It begins quietly, so quietly that nothing seems different at first. A small American town rests under a soft, endless night. Long empty streets stretch between rows of silent houses. Wooden porches sit still beneath dim yellow lights. Mailboxes stand beside the road, unmoving. The air feels calm, almost too calm. Above everything, the sky is heavy. Not dark in a stormy way, but deep, soft, and still. Like a blanket pulled gently over the town. Then, the first drop appears. Not a sound, not a splash. Just a single drop of rain forming high in the air. It falls slowly, very slowly. Too slowly. The streets below wait for it, the rooftops remain still. The pavement, dry and silent, seems ready to receive it. But the drop never arrives. It stops, midway between the sky and the ground. It simply pauses, floating, still, like it has forgotten how to fall. Another drop appears. Then another. Soon, the sky is filled with soft, drifting rain, but none of it touches the ground. Each droplet hangs in the air, suspended in silence. Streetlights glow softly, casting warm circles onto the empty road. And within those circles, the rain becomes visible, thousands of tiny shining beads, frozen in place. They shimmer gently, barely moving. If you look closely, you might think they are still falling. But they are not, they are waiting. The town remains silent. No wind moves the trees. No sound echoes through the streets. Even the air feels paused, like time itself has slowed down just enough to notice. A long road stretches out into the distance, disappearing into darkness. Above it, the rain continues to gather. Layer upon layer of suspended droplets fill the space between sky and earth. The further you look, the more it seems endless. Like the rain has no intention of finishing. A faint mist begins to form. Soft and thin, almost invisible. It moves slowly through the floating rain, blending everything together. The lights blur slightly. The edges of houses soften. Everything becomes gentle, calm, as if the entire town is being wrapped in a quiet dream. The pavement remains dry, not a single drop reaches it, and yet it feels like it has been raining for a long time. The kind of rain you don't hear, but somehow still feel. Above the rooftops, clouds drift quietly. They don't rush. They don't build into a storm. They simply exist. Slow and steady. From them, more droplets appear, each one beginning its journey downward, each one stopping before it arrives. Time stretches. Seconds feel longer. Moments blend together. Nothing changes, and yet everything feels different. The glow of a streetlight flickers slightly, not because of power, but because the mist shifts ever so gently. The light touches the suspended rain, making it glow like tiny stars caught in the air. If you follow one droplet with your eyes, you'll notice something strange. It doesn't fall. It doesn't rise. It simply stays, as if it belongs exactly where it is. More droplets gather around it, forming soft, invisible patterns. Almost like the rain is creating something, slowly, quietly, without being seen. The town continues to rest, still unaware, still untouched. The houses stand the same. The streets remain empty. The night continues as if nothing unusual is happening. But above, between sky and ground, the rain has changed everything. A gentle stillness spreads. Not the stillness of silence, but the stillness of something that has paused mid-motion. Something that hasn't decided what comes next. The mist thickens slightly. Not enough to hide the view, but enough to soften its edges blur. Lights fade just a little, and the floating rain begins to feel endless. There is no beginning, no end, just a quiet, suspended moment stretching further and further, as if the night itself has slowed down to rest. And the rain continues to fall, but never arrives. The night does not move forward. It simply continues. The same quiet streets remain under the same soft glow of streetlights. The same houses stand still, their windows dark and peaceful. The same road stretches endlessly into the distance, and above it all, the rain remains suspended. More droplets have appeared now, layer upon layer, filling the space between the sky and the earth. Each one perfectly still, as if placed there with care. The air feels thicker, not heavy, just full of tiny, silent moments that never reach completion. The mist drifts slowly through the town, weaving between the floating rain. It moves so gently that it almost cannot be seen. Only when it passes through the light does it reveal itself. Soft, pale, and quiet. Streetlights continue to glow, but now, their light feels deeper, more distant, as if the mist has softened everything just enough to make the world feel far away. The road remains dry, untouched, even though the rain has been falling endlessly. If you look far down the street, something begins to feel different. The distance no longer looks the same. The road doesn't just fade into darkness anymore. It fades into something softer, something blurred, like the horizon itself has dissolved into the night. The floating droplets become smaller as they stretch further away, until they blend into a faint shimmer, almost like a quiet ocean suspended in the air. Time continues to stretch. Moments pass, but nothing changes. And yet, something is happening. Very slowly, very quietly. A single droplet near a streetlight begins to move. Not falling, not rising, just drifting, barely noticeable. It shifts slightly to the side, as if guided by something unseen. Then it stops again. Another droplet nearby does the same. A gentle movement, almost like breathing. The rain is not frozen. It is simply moving too slowly to notice. The entire sky begins to feel alive, in the softest way possible. Droplets drift closer together, then apart, forming patterns that appear and disappear without ever completing. There is no direction, no purpose, just motion without urgency. The mist follows this movement, flowing gently through the suspended rain. It carries a sense of calm that spreads across everything. The trees along the road stand still, their leaves unmoving. But if you look closely, you might feel as if they're part of it too. Part of the stillness, part of the slow, endless moment. The sky above deepens in color. A richer blue, almost blending into black, and within it, faint stars begin to appear, but even they seem different. Their light is softer, quieter, as if they are watching without shining too brightly. The floating rain catches that faint starlight. Tiny reflections shimmer within each droplet, creating a sky within the sky. A reflection of something distant. Something calm. The town remains silent. No sound breaks the stillness. No movement interrupts the flow. Everything continues, exactly as it is, and yet the feeling grows. A gentle awareness that this moment is not passing, that the night is not ending, that the rain will never reach the ground. The mist thickens just a little more, softening the edges of everything, blurring the line between sky and earth, between near and far. The road, the houses, the lights, they all begin to feel like part of the same quiet space. Nothing stands apart. Nothing demands attention. Everything simply exists together. The drifting droplets continue their slow, almost invisible dance, moving just enough to remind you that time has not stopped. It has only slowed. The horizon disappears completely now. There is no clear end to the road. No clear boundary between distance and sky. Only a soft, endless fading into darkness. And within that darkness, the suspended rain stretches on infinite, calm, unfinished. The night breathes quietly. A rhythm so slow it can barely be felt. And with each moment, the stillness deepens, not into silence, but into something softer, something that doesn't need to move forward, something that simply stays. The rain continues to fall, but it never arrives. The night has now fully settled into itself. There is no sense of beginning, and no feeling of end. The town remains exactly as it was. Silent houses, empty roads, soft yellow streetlights glowing through the mist, and above, the endless rain, still suspended. But now, something is different, not in a sudden way. Not in a way that demands attention, but in a way that slowly reveals itself, only if you continue to look. The droplets are no longer scattered randomly. They are arranging very slowly. Almost impossibly slowly. At first, it feels like imagination, a trick of the soft light, or the drifting mist. But if you focus, if you let your eyes rest without rushing, you begin to notice it lines. Soft, invisible lines formed by clusters of droplets, curves that stretch gently across the air, shapes that are not fully complete, but not random either. The rain is forming patterns, not sharp, not clear, but present, a quiet design, building itself without any sound. Near one streetlight, a group of droplets gathers into a loose circle. It is not perfect. Edges fade in and out. Droplets drift slightly, but return, as if they remember where they belong. Elsewhere, above the road, faint lines begin to stretch across the sky, connecting one droplet to another, forming long, gentle arcs. They don't glow brightly. They don't stand out, but they exist, subtle, calm, like something being drawn, one moment at a time. The mist moves through these patterns, softening them, blurring them. But not erasing them. Instead, it makes them feel deeper, more distant, like they are part of something far beyond the town. The sky darkens slightly, not in a stormy way, but in a deeper, richer tone. And within that depth, the patterns become easier to feel, even if they are still hard to see. The floating droplets begin to shimmer more gently, reflecting faint starlight, each one like a tiny mirror, holding a piece of the sky inside it, and together they begin to look like something familiar, not a shape you can name, not a symbol you recognize, but something that feels meaningful, like a memory you cannot fully recall. The road below remains unchanged, dry still, waiting, but it no longer feels empty. It feels connected, as if the patterns above are slowly reaching down, without touching. The trees along the road seem softer now, their outlines fading slightly into the mist, as if they too are becoming part of the same quiet design. Nothing stands apart anymore. Everything blends. Everything belongs. The droplets continue their slow movement, drifting just enough to shift the patterns, but never breaking them. A circle becomes an oval. A line bends slightly. A curve extends further into the distance. The entire sky feels like a living map, one that is constantly changing, but never rushing. Time stretches even more. Moments feel longer than before. The idea of before itself begins to fade. There is only this soft, suspended moment. The patterns grow larger, spreading further across the sky. What began near a single streetlight now extends above the entire road. Faint connections linking distant droplets, creating something vast, something quiet, but endless. The mist thickens just enough to make the edges disappear again. The patterns blur, fade, return. It becomes impossible to hold onto a single shape. They're always becoming something else, always shifting, just beyond full clarity. And yet, they feel intentional, as if the rain is not just falling, but remembering. Remembering a shape, remembering a form, trying to recreate something that once existed, or perhaps still exists, somewhere far beyond the sky. The stars above remain faint, but their reflections within the droplets grow stronger. Tiny points of light repeating again and again, across thousands of suspended drops. A sky within a sky. A pattern within a pattern. Everything layered. Everything calm. The town continues to rest beneath it all, unaware, unchanged, and yet quietly surrounded by something vast. The horizon is gone completely now. There is no edge to the road, no boundary to the sky, only a soft transition from one into the other, and within that endless space, the patterns continue to form, slowly, silently, without ever completing. The rain does not fall. It does not stop. It simply arranges itself over and over again, in shapes that almost make sense, but never fully do. And as the night continues, the patterns grow deeper, more complex, more distant, as if they're leading somewhere, but choosing never to arrive. The stillness holds everything together. The mist softens every edge. And the rain continues to fall, but never reaches the ground. The night continues, but it no longer feels distant. The town remains still, silent streets, soft glowing lights, empty roads stretching into a horizon that no longer exists. Everything is the same, and yet everything feels closer. Not physically closer, not in a way you can measure, but in a quiet, unexplainable way. The sky above the town begins to feel lower, not falling, not moving, just closer. The suspended rain fills the space between sky and ground more completely now. There are fewer empty gaps, more droplets, more layers, each one softly glowing in the faint light. The mist drifts gently through them, blending everything together. Dash, 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 dot. The space between the sky and the earth feels smaller. Not tight, not crowded, but connected, as if the sky is slowly becoming part of the town. Dash, 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 dot. Or the town is becoming part of the sky. It is impossible to tell. The patterns in the rain continue. They stretch wider, now deeper, more complex. Dash, 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 dot. Lines that curve across the entire view. Shapes that form and dissolve before they can be understood. Nothing stays long enough to be named. And yet, everything feels familiar. The droplets move so slowly that their motion feels like stillness. A quiet shifting that never interrupts the calm. dash 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 dot. The streetlights glow through the mist, but their light no longer feels separate. It blends into the sky. Soft yellow fading into deep blue. Dash 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 dot. Colors merging without contrast, without edges. The road below reflects nothing. Still dry, still untouched. And yet, it no longer feels separate from the rain. Dash 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 dot. The space above and the ground below begin to feel like one continuous layer. As if the rain is not falling between them, but holding them together. Dash 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 dot. The air feels deeper, not heavier, just fuller, full of quiet presence. If you focus on a single droplet, you begin to notice something new. Dash 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 dot. Inside it. Each droplet holds its own small space, its own stillness, its own quiet moment, and when you look at thousands of them together, dash 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 dot, it feels like looking into something much larger, something endless. The sky no longer feels far away. It feels like it has come down, closer to the town, closer to the road, closer to everything. The stars above fade slightly, not disappearing, just blending into the rain. Their light now scattered across countless droplets. Dash 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 dot. No longer distant points, but part of the space around you. The idea of above begins to fade. Where is the sky? Where is the ground? The difference becomes unclear. Everything exists within the same quiet layer. The mist thickens again, soft, gentle. It moves through the suspended rain like a slow breath. Dash 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 dot. In out, barely noticeable. The patterns shift with it. Curves stretching, lines bending, shapes dissolving. Nothing fixed, nothing final. Dash 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 dot. The town remains unchanged, still, silent, but now it feels surrounded by something much larger than itself. Something calm, something endless. Dash 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 dot. The road continues into the distance, but distance itself feels softer now. Less defined, more like a feeling than a space. The horizon is gone completely. Dash 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 dot. Not hidden, not covered, simply no longer there. The sky has taken its place. Or perhaps, there is no difference anymore. The rain continues to form new patterns. Dash 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 dot. Each one emerging slowly, then fading into something else. A quiet cycle without beginning or end. The droplets glow softly. The mist drifts. Dash 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 dot. The light blends. Everything moves. But nothing changes. The feeling deepens. A sense that the town is no longer separate from the sky. That everything exists together, inside the same quiet moment. The rain does not fall. The sky does not rise. The ground does not wait. Everything simply is. Dash 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 dot. Connected. Calm. Endless. And as the night continues, the sky feels closer than ever before. Not touching, but never far away, always present. Dash 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 dot, always near. And the rain continues to fall, but never reaches the ground. The night no longer feels like time is passing. It feels like time has softened, not stopped, not frozen, but gently slowed into something quieter. The town remains as it was. Still streets, silent houses, soft lights glowing through the mist. And above, the endless rain, still suspended, still drifting, still never reaching the ground. But now, something else begins to change. Not in the sky, not in the rain, but in the feeling of everything. Movement itself begins to slow. The mist drifts more gently than before, so gently that it almost seems still. The faint patterns in the rain shift even more slowly. Curves take longer to form. Lines take longer to fade. Everything begins to stretch. Moments become wider. Not longer in time, but deeper in feeling. If you watch a single droplet now, you will notice something different. Its movement is almost impossible to see. It drifts, but so slowly that it feels like it is resting, as if it is choosing not to move. The entire sky feels like it is breathing at a slower pace, a quiet rhythm, so soft that it barely exists. The street lights glow steadily, their light spreading into the mist, blending into the suspended rain. But even the light feels slower, not flickering, not fading, just softer. The road below remains unchanged, dry still, but it no longer feels like a surface. It feels like part of the same calm space. Everything begins to lose its sharp edges. The houses blur slightly into the mist. The trees soften into shadows. The distance fades into quiet. Nothing stands out. Nothing asks to be noticed. Everything simply exists. Together, the idea of movement begins to fade. The cars are not there. The wind is not there. Only the rain. And even that no longer feels like it is falling. It feels like it is resting, held gently in the air, each droplet perfectly placed, perfectly still. The patterns in the sky continue, but now they feel slower, more distant, as if they are happening far away, even though they are right here. The mist moves through them like a quiet thought. Soft, unhurried, the sky feels closer than ever before, but also further away. A strange balance, near and distant at the same time. The stars above fade into the background, their light now fully blended into the rain, no longer separate points, but part of the same endless glow. Time stretches again. Moments become even softer, even quieter. There is no sense of waiting, no sense of before or after. Only this endless, calm presence. If you try to focus, your thoughts slow down. They don't disappear. They just become quieter, like everything else. The town continues to rest, unchanged, untouched, but now it feels like it is floating, not on the ground, not under the sky, but within something larger, something that has no edges. The rain holds everything together, not by falling, but by simply being there. Everywhere, the mist thickens slightly again, softening everything further, blending light, sky, and ground into one continuous calm. There is no separation left, no clear lines, only a gentle, endless space. The feeling deepens, a quiet sense that nothing needs to move anymore. Nothing needs to change. Everything has already settled. The world has slowed to the point where stillness feels natural. The rain no longer feels like something happening. It feels like something that has always been there. Always will be. The patterns continue, but they no longer matter. The movement continues, but it no longer feels like movement. Everything has softened into one simple feeling. Calm, endless calm. And as the night continues, the world slows even further, gently, quietly, until everything feels like it is resting. And the rain continues to fall, but never reaches the ground. The night is still there, but it no longer feels like night. It does not feel like anything in particular. Not dark, not light, just present. The town remains, but it feels distant now. Not far away, just softer, less defined. The houses no longer stand out. They blend gently into the mist. Dash, 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 dot. The road is still there, but it no longer feels like a path. It feels like part of the same endless space. The sky above, or what used to be called the sky. Dash, 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 dot. Feels closer, and at the same time, no longer separate. The rain remains suspended, every droplet still in place. But now, even the idea of droplets begins to fade. Dash, 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 dot. They are no longer individual. They feel like part of something continuous, a soft layer of quiet presence. The mist drifts slowly, but its movement is almost gone. Dash, 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 dot. It feels like it is resting, like everything else. The light from the street lamps is still there, but softer, more blended, no sharp glow. Dash, 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 dot. No clear edge. just a gentle brightness that fades into everything around it. Time no longer stretches. It no longer moves. It no longer feels like time. Dash 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 dot. There is no sense of seconds passing. No sense of moments changing. Only stillness. A stillness that does not feel empty. A stillness that feels full. Dash 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 dot. Full of quiet. Full of calm. Full of nothing that needs to happen. The patterns that once formed in the rain have disappeared. Not because they ended. Dash 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 dot. But because they are no longer needed. There is no shape to follow. No movement to notice. Everything has softened into one continuous space. Dash 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 dot. If you try to focus on something, anything at all, it gently fades. Not suddenly, not forcefully, just slowly, until there is nothing left to hold on to. Dash 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 dot. The town is still there, but it no longer asks to be seen. The road is still there, but it no longer leads anywhere. The sky is still there. Dash 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 dot. But it no longer feels above. Everything has become one, not joined, not merged, just, always together. The rain continues, but it does not fall. Dash 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 dot. It does not move. It does not need to. It simply exists. Everywhere. The quiet deepens, but not into silence, into something softer. Dash 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 dot. Something that holds everything gently. There is no tension, no expectation, no waiting. Nothing is about to happen. Nothing needs to happen. Dash 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 dot. Everything already is. The mist remains. The light remains. The space remains, all of it unchanged, all of it calm, if you listen closely. There is no sound, but it does not feel silent. It feels complete, the kind of quiet that does not need to be filled. The kind of stillness that does not need to end. Dash 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 dot. The town rests inside it. The sky rests inside it. The rain rests inside it. Everything rests. And the feeling continues. Soft. Endless, unmoving. There is no edge to it, no beginning, no ending, only this quiet presence, and as it continues, nothing changes. Dash 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 dot. Nothing fades. Nothing moves. Everything simply stays. And the rain continues to fall, but never reaches the ground. The quiet continues, but now, even the idea of quiet begins to fade, not because it disappears, but because it becomes everything. There is no longer a difference between sound and silence, no difference between movement and stillness. Everything feels the same, soft, calm, endless. The town is still there, but it is no longer something you notice. The houses, the road, the lights, they do not stand apart anymore. They do not ask for attention. They simply exist within the same gentle space. The sky is no longer above. The ground is no longer below. There is no direction, no distance, only presence. The rain remains, but it no longer feels like rain. It no longer feels like something falling. It no longer feels like something separate. It feels like part of the space itself, like the air, like the calm. Every droplet has lost its edge, lost its boundary. They are no longer many. They are one, a soft, endless layer of stillness. The mist has settled completely. It does not move anymore. It does not drift. It simply exists. Like everything else, the light remains, but it is no longer light, not in the way it once was. It does not glow. It does not shine. It gently exists, as part of the same calm presence. There are no shadows, no highlights, no contrast. Everything is balanced. Everything is even. Time has fully disappeared. Now there is no sense of before, no sense of after, no sense of now, only being, a soft, endless being. Thoughts no longer form. There is nothing to think about, nothing to follow, nothing to hold on to. Everything that once had shape has softened. Everything that once had meaning has faded. Not gone, just quiet. The town remains, but it is no longer a place. It is part of the same endless calm. The road remains, but it is no longer a path. It does not lead anywhere. It does not begin. It does not end. It simply is. The sky remains, but it is no longer distant. It is no longer above. It is part of everything. There is no separation left. Nothing stands apart. Nothing is different. Everything rests together. The rain continues, but it does not fall. It does not move. It does not change. It does not need to. The quiet deepens again, but not into silence, into something even softer, something without edges, something without form, a feeling that cannot be named. A feeling that does not need to be understood, only felt, gently, endlessly. There is no tension, no movement, no expectation, nothing waiting to happen, nothing left to happen. Everything has already settled. Everything is already complete. The space continues, unchanging, unmoving, endless, and within it, everything rests, without effort, without thought, without time. And the rain continues to fall, but never reaches the ground. There is no longer a sense of night, no sense of sky, no sense of town. Everything that once felt separate has gently faded into one quiet presence. Nothing has disappeared, but nothing stands apart anymore. There are no shapes to follow, no patterns to notice, no movement to observe. Everything is still, not frozen, not paused, just naturally still. The rain remains, but it is no longer something that falls. It is no longer something that exists between sky and ground. It has become something else, something softer, something without form. It is everywhere, and nowhere at the same time. There is no direction. No up, no down, no near, no far, only a quiet, endless presence. The mist has dissolved into it, the light has dissolved into it, the road, the houses, the sky, all of it has dissolved into the same calm space. Nothing remains as it was. And yet, everything is still there. Just. Without edges. Without separation. Time is gone completely. Not slowed. Not stretched. Simply no longer there. There is no moment to hold. No second passing. No before. No after. Only this. A soft, endless now thoughts no longer come. There is nothing for them to follow. Nothing to form around. Nothing to return to everything that once created movement has gently faded away. What remains is something deeper, something quieter than silence, something softer than stillness, a presence that does not need to be understood, a calm that does not need to end. There is no journey, no beginning, no destination, no conclusion, only existence, simple, endless, complete. The rain continues, but not as drops, not as motion, not as anything that can be seen. It continues as a feeling, a soft, gentle presence that fills everything. There is no need to notice it, no need to follow it, no need to understand it. It simply is. The quiet remains. But even the word quiet no longer fits, because there is nothing to compare it to, nothing louder, nothing different, only this one endless calm. Everything rests inside it, without effort, without movement, without time. There is no change, no shift, no transition, only continuation, an endless, gentle continuation that does not move forward and does not stay behind. It simply is, and within it, everything has already settled. Everything has already arrived, even though there was nowhere to go. Even though nothing ever moved, the feeling remains, soft, complete, endless. And the rain continues to fall, but never reaches the ground. There is no beginning, and yet something feels like it is beginning again, not in a clear way. Not in a way you can notice, but in a soft, familiar feeling. The calm remains. The endless, quiet presence continues. Nothing has changed. Nothing has moved. And still Something feels slightly different. Very gently. Very slowly. A sense of space begins to return. Not fully. Just a hint. A soft awareness of distance. The feeling of somewhere begins to form again. Not strong. Not clear. Just enough to be felt. The endless calm does not disappear. It remains. But within it, something begins to take shape. Very softly. Very slowly. Like a memory returning. Without sound. Without detail. The idea of a sky begins to appear. Not above. Not separate. Just present. The idea of a ground begins to form. Not below. Not solid. Just felt. The space between them begins to exist again. Soft. Unclear. But real enough to notice. The rain returns. Not suddenly. Not all at once. But gently. The feeling of it comes first. Then the sense of droplets. Then the faint idea of falling. But they do not reach the ground. They never do. The mist begins to form again. Light. Soft. Barely there. It drifts slowly through the space, recreating what once was. The quiet town begins to return. Not fully. Just outlines. Soft shapes. Faint suggestions of houses. A road stretching into distance. Street lights glowing gently. Everything appears the same as before. And yet, it feels like it was never gone. As if it had always been there. Hidden inside the calm. Waiting to be noticed again. The rain becomes clearer. Droplets suspended in the air. Perfectly still. Perfectly placed. The patterns have not returned. Or maybe they were always there. Just unseen. The mist softens everything again. Blending edges. Merging light and space. The town settles back into its quiet state. Unmoving. Untouched. The road stretches forward. Endless. Fading into a horizon that feels just out of reach. The sky deepens. A soft blue blending into darkness. Stars begin to appear again. Faint, distant, calm. Everything feels familiar. Not because it has repeated, but because it never changed. The same stillness, the same calm, the same endless moment, returning, without ever leaving. Time begins to feel like it exists again, but only slightly, just enough to feel the flow. Just enough to notice the calm, but not enough to disturb it. The droplets remain suspended. The mist continues to drift. The light glows softly. Nothing rushes. Nothing moves too fast. Everything continues at its own quiet pace. The town rests once more, just as it did before, just as it always will, and the feeling remains the same. Soft, endless, unchanging. A beginning that feels like an ending that feels like a beginning, a loop, without edges, without start, without finish. And within it, everything continues. Just as it is, just as it always has been. And the rain continues to fall, but never reaches the ground. The night has been still for a very long time. So long that time itself no longer feels important. The town remains quiet. The road stretches forward. The sky rests gently above. And the rain, still suspended, still waiting. But now, something begins to change. Not suddenly, not in a way that breaks the calm, but in a way that feels natural, like something that was always meant to happen. A single droplet moves, not drifting, not floating, but falling, slowly, gently. For the first time, it continues its journey. The distance between sky and ground feels smaller now, softer, easier to cross. The droplet reaches the road. Silently, no sound, no splash. It simply touches and disappears. Nothing changes, and yet everything feels different. Another droplet follows, then another, one by one. The rain begins to fall, not fast, not heavy, just gently continuing, each droplet completing what it had started. The air feels lighter, the space feels clearer. The mist begins to fade, slowly lifting away, as if its purpose has been fulfilled. The sky rises again, not moving, but returning to where it belongs. The distance between sky and ground becomes real once more. The town feels like a place again. The road feels like a path. The houses feel still, but separate. Soft yellow streetlights glow clearly now, their light no longer blended, but gently shining. The rain continues to fall, and now it reaches the ground, quietly, naturally, as if it had always been this way. The road becomes slightly wet. A soft reflection begins to form. Not bright, just enough to catch the light. The horizon returns. A faint line in the distance. Not endless anymore, just far. The sky deepens into a calm night. Stars shine softly once again. Separate, peaceful. The patterns in the rain are gone. The stillness has softened. The endless feeling has settled. Everything has returned, but not exactly as before. Now, it feels complete, finished, rested. The town remains quiet. The road stretches forward. The sky watches calmly. And the rain continues, but now it falls. Gently, naturally, reaching the ground. At last, the night breathes softly. Everything is calm. Everything is still. And nothing more needs to happen. The story does not loop. It does not return. It simply rests, just like everything else. And slowly, quietly, the rain fades into the night.